If you're thinking about moving to Warner Robins, Georgia, this video is designed for you. Now, it is 2026 and moving here comes with a lot of different complications. The base back in 2025 in October, because of the government shutdown, put a pause on a lot of different jobs. The local area in some areas is growing, some with awesome price appreciation and others aren't. What's going on with healthcare? What's going on with schools? If you're gonna move to the local area, you need to know all of this information. In full disclosure, I'm not actually from here. I grew up in Ohio. I was stationed over at Fort Benning, which is Columbus, Georgia, which is an hour and a half west of here, and I relocated over here back in 2020. So I've been here going on 5-6 years now, and I want to give you the insider scoop. And no, I'm not with the local Chamber of Commerce. I'm not biased. So I'm gonna tell you the things that you actually need to know. So let's just start out with pro number one, and that's gonna be the base. It brought in $4.5 billion here to the local economy just last year, and has over 21,000 employees. Now, if you go to usajobs.gov, you're gonna be able to find a lot of these different positions. Back in 2025, October, when the government shut down, a lot of crazy stuff was happening because the base is the main employer for the local area. There's so many job opportunities. However, now they're hiring over 6,000 new positions. And right now, if you go online and search for those, they are going through a hiring frenzy. I just looked at the new data just online, and they have over 800 active positions that are on the market right now for people just like you, if you wanna move over here and work, that you can apply for. Now, year after year, recently and moving forward, when you put all those numbers together, it's gonna be about a 5 to 8% hires per year based just off of that population. So if you do all the fancy math and stuff like that, they're looking for 6,000 new positions. And the cool thing is with being on base, you're either on what's called the GS scale or the NH scale. Fantastic pay when it comes down to the local cost of living, as well as healthcare benefits and all of that. People do so well on the base. I was just talking to somebody at just one of the church events that we were having. He just graduated from college and he has a apprenticeship over at the base. Palace Accord, that's the word that I'm looking for. And they're actually going to be paying for some of his degree and paying him during this apprenticeship. So he's gonna be on what's called a 7-9-11 program. So it's GS 7-9-11, literally 2 grades above year after year for the 3 years, and then he's guaranteed a GS 12 position. If you don't really know too much about the GS scale, I'm gonna throw up on the screen the different ratings and rankings that you're gonna have, as well as the pay scale. You have different steps. The step is how many years you've been in that position, and then you have the GS that you're in. Now, I will throw this out there. When it comes down to landing a job on the base, college education is extremely important to them. Not just a bachelor's. For you to be able to compete for a lot of those positions are going to require a master's or even a PhD. However, I know that sounds crazy. It's military, installation, and you're civilian. Why do you need that? The majority of those jobs will actually pay for you to get that college education while you can actually still work. They might pay you to actually go to school full time and pay for your degree. They may pay for your schooling and you're able to work at that exact same time. Even my wife did that. She was working about 32 hours a week while going to school full time. It was pretty cool. Now, the first con on the list is actually going to be the base as well. And some like to call it a one industrial town. And the reason is because Warner Robins Air Force Base is the largest single industrial complex here in the state of Georgia. Now, there are a lot of new industries that are coming into the area, but before, like I was saying, late last year, everything froze, everything shut down, and people began to freak out a little bit because when all of those jobs got put on pause, people had to look for other lines of work. With the base being the #1 place to be hired, people began to look in new areas. And in the description of this video, and you can hop on my website too, I actually have every single industry that is hiring with those job boards in a single guide. I just call it my job search guide for everybody on this channel because we run the #1 relocation YouTube channel for Middle Georgia, and I put together all of those. So if you're looking for a job, it's my free gift to you. But seriously, it was a scary, scary time because we realized that when Washington sneezes, we got sick. Okay, so if the government, when it comes down to the finances that they were going through, government shutdown, when it came down to budget, you got to think about those things, So we want to make sure that you lock a job in before you come here. The next pro on the list is your paycheck is really going to stretch, as well as all of the new construction that's come to our area. So the cost of living runs about 11% below the national average, and you get a ton of new construction. I mean, brand new 4 bedrooms in Bon Air, Kathleen, Warner Robins has a lot of options as well for a fraction of Atlanta. For a $75,000 a year paycheck, I mean, you would have to make well over $100,000 to be able to get the same thing here. And I actually pulled the stats for us because the cost of living over here in Warner Robins is 11% below the US average. And the typical home, according to Zillow here in 2026, is $212,000, while the national average is $339,000. So your dollar stretches further when it comes down to cost of living. However, there is a caveat. I know this is a pro, but again, I will always tell you the truth here on this channel. You want to make sure that if you move here, because the cost of living is better, that your job that you land is equal to that cost of living. Because if you move here, and let's just say you have a specific job and you're moving here from California, and let's just say you're making multiple 6 figures, and you get that same job here, I can pretty much guarantee that it's not going to pay the same, unless maybe you're working virtual, you know? So if you're in a virtual position where you can work online full time and still make that pay, man, you are going to be making out over here in the local area. Because the average household income here in Warner Robins, Georgia is $65,700 per year. So if you land a job on base, or maybe you are just online when it comes down to your work, virtual, you can have a really good life. And I mean that just when it comes down to your salary and cost of living, you know, milk, gas, car insurance, you know, payments, house payment, all that kind of stuff. In comparison to the pay, you might be able to afford a vacation. You know, you might be able to have some more tasty food on the weekends. The next con on the list is no public transportation. I'm talking none. The only data that I could find online was from an article with 13 WMAZ News back in 2025 when they interviewed city council, and I believe that they talked to the mayor as well. They have no plans until 2050. I think that's just an excuse for we have nothing, because 2050, bro, it's 2020. That's 24 years from now. So they have no plans at all. I know of one private transportation company that has a couple of stops, but that's all. So if you move here, you're going to have a car. Okay. I remember I dropped a U-Haul off after helping somebody move one time. And after I dropped that U-Haul off, I'm not even joking, I'm like 6 or 7 minutes from my house. It's really not that far away, but it was off of Watson Boulevard. There's no sidewalk. I'm not going to walk on a, you know, I think that strip is like 45, 55 miles an hour. I'm just not going to do it, you know. Can't make videos like this if I get hit by a car. And it was going to be $41 by Uber to go like 6 or 7 minutes. Like, it's just unreasonable. So I just want to be fully transparent. If you move here, you're gonna need a car. The next pro, schools actually deliver. Housing County, if you go to niche.com, you're gonna see the graduation rate at 91.2%. It is well above the state's average. A lot of families are flocking here, especially to Bon Air and Kathleen. Now I'm gonna throw this out there. Bon Air and Kathleen touch the southern part of Warner Robins. They're not really a city, although they're technically cities. They have their own zip code, but they don't have their own police force. They don't have their own fire department. They don't have, I don't think they have their own mayor. I mean, there's no city hall or anything like that. So when I think of those, I just think of it as a subsect of Warner Robins. So just walk with me here for a second, because if you're searching here on the internet, you know that you can have a job, let's say at Robins Air Force Base, and then you can drive the extra 4, 5, 6 minutes to work. Just throwing this out there. There's a lot of local areas, but people are flooding over here, and I'm helping so many families move, and they're locked in on these schools. I mean, there's little competition, because if you're within that district, that's just where your child goes to school. And Veterans, Housing County High, I mean, there's so many great public school opportunities. That is a reason why people are flooding over here in the local area. In the description, I'm gonna link niche.com for you. It's a really good resource when it comes down to crime and schools. You're actually gonna be able to pull up a map, and based off of those districts, be able to figure out what's important to you and your family. Because let's just say, whether it's crime, whether it's school systems, you can hop on Zillow all day long and scroll these beautiful houses and fall in love. But if it's not within the area in which you would want to live, right? The right amenities, the right schools for you and your family and your kids, right? That you want to put them in. Crime, let's say that you travel a lot and you're going to leave the spouse at home and you don't want to have a high crime area. Don't fall in love with the house, fall in love with the area, and I'll help you find that house in that area of your choice. The next con on the list is that there's no downtown, and there are so many chain restaurants. There's not a lot of local restaurants when it comes down to it. Now, I understand when you look at the data, a lot of local restaurants fail. It's like 90% of restaurants that start go under. So like, that's a total side topic. you know, business stuff, whatever. But when it comes down to it, the strategy that they had, because Warner Robins was named the International City back in 1968, and it's held that title ever since, is that if we can get stuff that feels more like home, and I guess that they thought that chain restaurants make you feel more like home, that's what it is. And it's all down Watson Boulevard. There's so many different chains. I mean, Texas Roadhouse. Now, I'll give a shout out to Texas Roadhouse in Preston. He's one of the managers over there. They're doing it right over at that restaurant. I'm telling you what, we are regulars over there. They are so good, and they cook a steak so good that I don't even want to buy steak, even if it's from M&T Meats, and cook it myself, because they cook a better steak. It's just fantastic. Now, Jim and Nick's, they're a local up in Atlanta barbecue restaurant, family owned and ran. We actually have one down here on Watson Boulevard. Absolutely love the place. Go and check it out. But we also have things like Longhorn, and we have Olive Garden, and we have, you know, all the restaurants you could ever imagine. I mean, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, I mean, that's just a given. We have Pan Express. We have all the Subways you could ever imagine. Jersey Mike's. I mean, we got everything you could really think of, okay, when it comes down to chains. And they're slammed out. I mean, you drive by us Applebee's at like 5 p.m. on a Friday, people waiting outside, you know, so there's a lot of chains. But when it comes down to it, there's real no solution for this. And the city is working towards one. I know that they bought like 12 or 13 acres. Not the city website. If you go to Explore Georgia's own Warner Robins page, it actually points you up to Macon for the downtown, which you can't blame them. You know, Macon has 157,000 people. They have a downtown. Now, they got some good restaurants downtown. I only go down there when there's like a festival going on, a craft fair or something like that. Not really my place to be. A lot of singles, you know, a lot of nightlife and stuff up there. That's one of the pros in Macon. If you want to know more about Macon, check out the YouTube channel. I have a lot of videos when it comes down to Macon. I even have a downtown Macon tour. If you want to check that out, we go and interview a bunch of business owners and all that kind of stuff. But going back to Warner Robins, I mean, we have Rigby's, Waterworld. I mean, and you know, it's also a little mini. It's not a theme park. I mean, they got go-karts, they got putt-putt outside, they got, you know, little live events that you can go and do. They have all the laser tags and the rollerblade and the indoor bowling and the indoor billiards, and they got a little mini food court, not much going on in there. They got a bar in there, some cool stuff. You know, got the Museum of Aviation. It's the second largest museum in the United States when it comes down to aircraft. It's pretty cool. It's free. You can donate over there. Awesome place for birthday parties, by the way. They got a lot of cool stuff. But Warner Robins, not a whole lot of stuff going on. You know, we got 3 trampoline parks out of nowhere. It literally just popped up all within like the same 3 months. But there is a lot more stuff coming to the local area, but also too, a very short drive north to Macon, there's a lot of different activities. And if you are an outdoorsman or a woman or outdoors kid, okay, there's so many different places to fish and to hunt and recreation. Just this past weekend, our church had a clay shoot, which was a lot of fun. Over at Fieldstone, maybe I'll throw something up on the screen for that. There's just a lot of local stuff to do. It's a little bit more slowed down. We're more outdoors. It's the South. Take your kids outside, okay? This is the place to do it. And the last pro on the list is it's a tight military knit town. And if I'm just being transparent, this is what I truly love about Warner Robins. Warner Robins is a patriotic, tight-knit military town, and it's been Georgia's official international city, like I said earlier, since 1968, and people here take care of each other. It's safer than a lot of middle Georgia, especially when it comes down to violent crime, but I'm gonna just throw this out there. When you look at the crime data and you see the pockets, make sure you lock your car, okay? The crime really comes down to like minor vandalism and stuff like that, people opening up car doors and taking stuff. I mean, any city that you go to, you wanna be careful. But when it comes down to it, I just love how you can go to a restaurant, you can go to a Walmart, you can go walk around, people say yes sir, yes ma'am, hold the door open for you. It's just, you can make a lot of friends, you know? Just one of the things that I absolutely love. And I might be mistaken, I'll throw it up on the screen if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Warner Robins is about 30% veterans. It's just because it's a military town, a lot of people come back here to retire just because of how great of an area it is to be able to raise a family and retire. It's peaceful, and that's why I live here. And also too, I'll just throw, you know, a couple more off the top of my head. If you stay this long, hey, we're friends already, okay? Middle Georgia, I mean, you're an hour and a half south of Atlanta Airport. You can go over to Savannah. It doesn't take too long. I mean, 4.5 hours. You're at some of the nicest beaches on the Gulf. I love going to the beach over at the Panhandle. There's some awesome little secret spots of white sand, no seashells, no nothing. I know you're trying to look for some seashells, but I mean just pure white sand where you can actually see into the water. Not crystal clear, okay, but good enough to be able to swim in. There's just so many different cool things that you can do. And that's why I believe that I'll always live here in Middle Georgia. Now I'll go vacation in North Georgia mountains. I'll go to the beach. We'll travel. But home, it's right here. So that's the video. Warner Robins is a great fit for the right person. Maybe you're in the military, maybe you're looking for a great job on Robins Air Force Base, or maybe you want to throw your kids into a good public school. And that is why I created the relocation guide that I have over here in the description below, or you can shoot me a text message at 478-888-7808 and I'll personally text that one over to you. Living here for as long as I have, there's a lot of things that I figured out over the years and things that I continue to throw in, you know, that guide, just because it's always updated. Because when you first come here and maybe you stay in a hotel and we search for some houses together, it's hard to know an area without previously living here. So I give you all of my personal experiences in that guide below. And if you ever need any help, you know how to reach me in the description below. But thanks for staying to the end of the video. If you ever need any help with anything real estate, you know who to call.